What was I talking about? Sounds about right.
Sounds plenty.
Sounds
right.
fucking factual. Geek Bar on set!
Oh my god, shut up.
Howdy, hello, how you doing? I go by the name of Curtis. This is my show. I like to talk a lot. I've always liked to talk a lot, you know, ups and downs in life. I'm always been a yapper, though. Times are rough, currently, to say the least. I mean, not even to mention the state of the world.
God, like, can we talk about, like, the political and economic state of the world right now?
I've been on what my mom likes to call the struggle bus. I've been so disconnected from myself lately, man, and just out of it and sad, and I haven't really taken the time to do something that I really want to do just for the sake of doing it. I'm very open about my struggles with mental illness, and I like to let people know that they 100% are never alone, and that there is always someone out there crazier than them, and that it's me. The majority of my teenage years I spent fighting for my life mentally and emotionally, and when things got bad, people caught on, and people always want to put in their 2 cents about how you can fix your mental illness. You know, there's always the basics. You got go outside, brush your hair, take a shower, take a walk, just do little things like, I don't know, brushing your teeth. Ah! While these are amazing ways to pull yourself out of an episode and awesome coping skills, oftentimes they just aren't enough. Not even to mention how frustrating it is to be struggling so much and to be so sad and have someone tell you that the best way to fix it is to brush your freaking teeth. I mean, listen to that. That's insane. That's crazy, right? But I'm crazy.
Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a room. A rubber room with rats. And rats make me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once.
Through the years, I've picked up my own tips and tricks to help pull me out of an episode. But recently, it's been kind of harder to pull myself out. I fear I may be afflicted with the morbs.
Dog. What are the morbs?
Got the morbs is Old English slang for temporary melancholia, sadness, or depression. Big shout out James Redding Ware and his 1909 book Passing English of the Victorian Era. Morbs, of course, comes from the word morbid, which comes from the Latin morbidus, meaning disease. I mean, how fun is that? The stigma around mental illness and people with mental illnesses being diseased and sick and even contagious and gross has been around the entire time. Yippee! It has the same vibes as the words hysterectomy and hysteria having the same root word. Hystera, which is Greek for uterus. Hysteria was a diagnosis for women who were having valid feelings and emotions, and it was believed to be caused by a wandering or misplaced uterus. And hysterectomy is, of course, the removal of the uterus. Root words are so fun. I was an English major!
Yes, you heard me. An English major.
Got the morbs, yes, and it's time to rid myself of the morbs, and there's just an abundance of ways to do this, you know, and I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite ways to pull myself out of an episode while simultaneously trying to pull myself out of an episode, and we're gonna hope it works. Okay, so obviously I am not promoting overconsumption or a shopping addiction, but let's keep in mind that there is no ethical consumption under late-stage capitalism, and I'd rather be addicted to shopping than meth. We listen and we don't judge. That said, acquire trinkets. Treating yourself every now and again to something or starting a little collection fixation can be super fulfilling. I've started 1,000,001 collections in my day. I mean, there's crystals and rocks, there's books, candles, dolls, mugs, stuffed animals, strawberry shortcake memorabilia. That's ridiculous. That's too many. I'm a hoarder. I have a problem. I am aware. Do not judge me. We listen and we do not judge. Something about it just makes me happy. You know, something about being able to organize them and collect more and watch the collections grow and evolve as I do is really nice. Humans have been starting collections of things that we love since like the beginning of time. Archaeologists have found that as early as 105,000 years ago, humans were collecting crystals in the Kalahari region of South Africa. And we know that they were collecting them from adventures and trading and such because the crystals are not natural to or native to where they were found. We have been obsessing over and acquiring things and collecting things and hoarding things since the beginning of time because we love them. There's nothing wrong with it, and we do it for so many reasons. Some people collect things to educate themselves, like collecting books or specimens. For some, it's all about showing that they are loyal to or love something or someone. Think sports fans. Chiefs guys are going to have a lot of Travis and Mahomes jerseys. You could think of Taylor Swift and Tyler the Creator fans, you know, if you're not a sports guy like me. I know some people who will drop a band immediately, no questions asked, on some Tyler merch just because it's him. And I'm not dissing Tyler. I'm not dissing Tyler fans or Tyler merch because I adore it. I mean, no shade, no tea whatsoever. The big rich fancy folk like collecting things that show their status and prestige. Fur, big game taxidermy, fossils, jewelry, anything that is completely outlandish and could feed 40 families for 40 days. Some rich guy has a closet full of it. All shade, all tea, by the way. A lot of people, dare I say most, don't quote me, start collections on things that they are fixated on and just end up forming a happy little habit. People use their fixations to connect with people all the time. I mean, take me, for instance. I have connected with so many people based on the most niche interests and collections and fixations. In college, I met this girl, Abby, and both of us adore dolls. Not like creepy porcelain haunted vibe, but more Monster High, Bratz, Rainbow High type deal, you know? I fixated on dolls for the longest time, and I even went as far as to get on doll Twitter, which is like Stan Twitter, but for doll lovers. And I met so many people from around the world, and we became friends just based off the fact that we were young adults who had this childish interest. And I think we need to talk about that. I think we need to talk about having childish interests, because really, what's your problem? I mean, who cares if I like to play Animal Jam and go to the zoo? I am not hurting anyone, and neither is anybody else who is doing these things that is my age. What's the issue? Why are you in my business? Why do we feel so embarrassed to experience joy in a simple and nostalgic way? Kids aren't weird, their interests aren't dumb, so why is that suddenly the case when I'm 19 and buying Littlest Pet Shop in the discount aisle at Walmart? One of these days, my strawberry shortcake collection will be in a museum, and only one of us will be laughing, and it will be me with all my money on my private island of misfit toys. When you think collection, you don't have to think creepy white lady surrounded by Mickey Mouse. You can and should be thinking of something more like a museum, because what is a museum if not just a giant collection of history? Where would we be in the world if not for the people who decided that collecting Van Gogh pieces was a good idea? Where would we be without the neurodivergent guys hyperfixated on World War II? I mean, without them, we would have no history museum. Think about it. So next time you get a little embarrassed about your collection fixation, think of it from a different perspective. You are defining your own personality and history through tangible objects, and generations to come will be able to look at your wall of Michael Jackson posters and know something about you, just like you knew it about yourself. Silliness. Silliness is key. I find that reconnecting with my inner child via being a whimsical and magical fairy boy is very effective. Very good coping skill. No, but really, you have to participate in shenanigans. There's plenty of mischief to get into, even around your own house. I like to drag myself out usually, but I mean, you don't have to. When I was about 13 or 14, I liked to ride my bike up and down something we have here called the Longleaf Trace, which is basically this 45-ish mile long railroad track that they paved over to be a bike trail, and it spans multiple counties, and it goes through the most beautiful scenery and a couple really bad areas, but regardless, it was so fun just riding up and down that trace for hours, seeing what I could see, doing whatever I could do, getting into whatever trouble I could. I don't have a bike anymore, unfortunately, but that doesn't stop me from having little mini adventures around my city. From the Pocket Museum to the Lucky Rabbit, there's plenty of stuff that I do so that I'm not rotting in my bed. But all that involves leaving the house, and when it comes to reconnecting with yourself via shenanigans, Pinterest crafts. I cannot stress it enough. Pinterest crafts. You don't have to do the crazy stuff, you don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of art supplies that you're only going to touch once and never finish the project. I know you because you're me. We are we. You don't have to learn a new trade, basically, just doodle. There's these little, can tab people and, paperclip people that I've been seeing people making, and I've been wanting to try it so bad. When it comes to tomfoolery, it really is just all about reconnecting with your inner child, which is much easier said than done, of course. I read somewhere once that your inner child is the embodiment of your purest and most authentic self. It's that part of you that has been untouched by the stresses and responsibilities of adulthood. That part of your mind and soul that feels joy in the simplest and most pure way. The way a child would. It is angry, revengeful, not full of itself, not insecure. It's you in your most true form, man. What can I say? Of course, we should nurture and care for our inner child just as we nurture and care for our current self and our physical self. We can begin to reconnect with and heal our inner children first by doing things that we just loved doing back in the day and being completely and utterly nostalgic. Like I said, I like collecting childish things, and I liked playing old games that I loved. I also watched the old Monster High and Barbie movies, obviously. I infuse my life with the most color and whimsy possible. Another way to heal our inner children is to listen to them, meditate with them, and most importantly, forgive them. I am 100% guilty of holding on to the BS, holding on to the grudges. I hold on to so many things that I have tried hard as I might to let go of, but sometimes I just can't seem to, and it just replays over in my mind. I get angry or I get sad. I'm working on being kinder to myself, definitely. I would really like to stop berating everything I have ever done in my head over and over and over. Dude, it's exhausting. I would love to be able to stop. As I've been more mindful of this habit, it has been getting better. I've found that I am definitely more at peace with myself, more at peace with everyone around me, more at peace in general, honestly. You have to find the balance between the responsibilities of adulthood and the joys of childhood. You can't just slack off and color all day. Hate to say it, would love to. would be the shiznits. But unfortunately, I have to pay my bills and my taxes, so can't do that. But the way I continue to heal and reconnect with my inner child while still fulfilling my adult responsibilities is to just, find joy in everything. Because there's beauty and there's joy all around us. There is beauty and joy and whimsy all around us. And when you can find that whimsy specifically, you have to grab it, hold it close, and utilize it for your greater good. I was doing research for this video and I came across a quote from director Sarah Chu. When all ammunition is taken from us, the only thing left is weaponized whimsy. Pause. Rewind. Think about it. When all ammunition is taken from us, the only thing left is weaponized whimsy is crazy facts. Actual factual. If you have nothing and no one at all, you have yourself and your silliness. Alright? If you are unloved, you love yourself and your beauty. Okay? Hear me out. If you have no one to fight for you, you fight for yourself and your joy and your happiness. Okay? We forge our own paths in this life. We create our own narrative. So fill that path and narrative with silliness and light up every single room that you walk into. Drusilla Burrell says, "The power of whimsy is that it sits firmly within the moral forming power of fairy stories and fable narratives embedded so deep within us that we have forgotten that they once formed us." At our core, we are human and we have the capacity to feel so much joy that our hearts stop. Dog! Take advantage of that and feel so much joy that your heart stops. Not to be it's the daggone phone guy, but be so actually and genuinely for real. I fear it may be the phone. I fear it may be the phone. Okay, maybe not the phone itself, but maybe how one is using it. I'm talking about doom scrolling. Just laying in bed all day and rotting and switching through the same 4 apps over and over is not good for your mental health. Duh! Let's talk about doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is the act of seeking out negative and or harmful content. People have a tendency to love to sit and scroll and switch through the same 4 apps all day long, consuming awful content, brain-rotting content, anxiety-inducing content. Propaganda, harmful news, gore, softcore, corn, and anything on 4chan and Reddit. Let's be honest with ourselves. But of course, the media has a tendency to blast these harmful posts to us, As they say, if it bleeds, it leads. But we as consumers also seem to have a tendency to kind of gravitate towards that kind of content, which is actually just a result of that content in itself. This behavioral phenomenon is rooted in the limbic system. Which is dominated by the amygdala. This system promotes self-preservation and holds the fight or flight response. It keeps us in fight mode, fueling us to troll for threats. According to Dr. Aditi Nurkar, a lecturer at Harvard Medical, stress strokes our primary urge to scroll. We're hypervigilant and scanning for danger. The more you scroll, the more you feel the need to. It's an incessant, biting urge, isn't it? To just surround yourself with that negativity. 3 April of 2023 studies published in Applied Research in Quality of Life involving around 1,200 adults essentially concluded that doom scrolling is linked to worse mental health and well-being as well as life satisfaction.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
August of 2024 study published in Computers in Human Behavior Reports reinforces this idea. Consisting of 800 adults, the study suggests that doom scrolling evokes greater levels of existential anxiety. which is a feeling of dread or anxiety evoked by the thought of our own mortality. So basically, death make nervy, social media make think death, social media make nervy. You get it? We are constantly being bombarded by horrible news and awful content every single day. Dr. Nurkar also talks about popcorn brain, which is the real biological phenomenon of feeling your brain is popping because you're being overstimulated online. Then it's hard to engage with the real world, which moves at a much slower pace. When we are constantly being bombarded by 10-second videos of brain rot, we find it hard to switch back to a normal, intellectual conversation. So what do? We cut back on screen time, right? But that's easier said than done. And I mean, cutting back doesn't mean complete absence, it's just all about decreasing reliance. To cut back, you can just keep your phone out of reach. Don't sleep with it next to you. Don't have it out at work or school. Don't have it at meals. All of these things can also increase your willingness to talk to people, your ability to talk to people, and give you the opportunity to socialize and talk to people, which is great for your mental health. It also decreases the urge to pick up your phone and just scroll. Just like if you were to opt out of unnecessary notifications, like shopping apps, streaming services, even social media. Of course, there is our obvious solution. Find something to do. But this is much easier said than done. Partly due to our collective shortening attention span, we can find it difficult to sit down and focus on something for an extended period of time. It doesn't have to be hard. You can do anything. You could read, of course. I would promote literacy and reading skills. But read something you actually want to. If you're into poetry, don't read a quantum physics textbook, and vice versa type deal. I mean, you don't even necessarily have to read an actual book. Go on AO3 if you must. I'm not judging. I'm gonna mind my business. Apart from reading, there's always writing. I mean, you don't have to be Faulkner or Poe or Sylvia Plath. Gosh, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the next Nobel Prize winning author. Just jot down your thoughts, let your mind race. If you get stuck on a word, move on to a different word, move to a different page, come back to that one later. It doesn't matter. Just write. It's good for you. Trust. I'll never steer you wrong, friend.
This is not reality.
Once again, I cannot stress this enough. Pinterest crafts. Simply develop a very specific set of skills.
I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career.
You could always be super ultra productive and do homework or clean or organize something, barring this guy, am I right? Everybody laugh at the weird kid. Point is, make anything. Do anything. Reconnecting with myself means reconnecting with my art. I feel the most important thing we can do as people is to create things. We have implanted this idea in our brains that art has to be palatable and profitable and understood by people who don't deserve it and somehow better than someone else's. I think this is the most toxic mindset we can have as artists. I think we as humans were put on this earth to create, to leave our mark, to make something. Anything. The point is, make art, even if it's bad. I cannot draw to save my life. I wish I could, and I really try. I genuinely try so hard, but I just cannot make it to where it's acceptable to show other people. And I want to do better about that. I mean, not making it for other people per se. No, making it acceptable for myself. Instead of making art for other people, making art for myself. I want to make art like no one is watching. Like no one will ever see it. And then show the world. Make it someone's privilege to get to see your soul in tangible form. Because that's all art really is, right? Is someone's soul. It's the reflection of your inner self. That's why I could never really get around this separate art from the artist stuff. You know, like, we won't name any names, but a certain person who doesn't like Semitic people, who's a rapper, I can't get behind that. I can't listen to that guy's music without thinking of just how horrible he speaks about other human beings. Because art is a reflection of one's true self. You get what I'm saying? Another thing is that you can't long for validation. Because it won't come. There will always be haters. Don't cater to them. Don't try to make them like you or approve of what you do, because they won't. Do things for yourself. Validate yourself. We should be inspired by others rather than being defeated by them. Whether that be by someone talking down to us or us talking down to ourselves. Think about it like seeing another person's piece of art and thinking, oh, that's so good. I'm not that good. I could never do anything like that. No, that's negative self-talk, babe. And it's not good. Harmful to you and your process. Comparison is the thief of joy. Okay? Everyone started from step one day. Everyone started from their own foundation. The journey is great. And we all have our own. Don't compare mine to yours. Don't compare yours to anyone's. Lastly, take inspiration wherever you find it. Run with it. And then finish the project. I mean, that's the hardest thing, right? You know, finishing the project. I have started 1,000,001 things. Just like I have 1,000,001 collections, I've started 1,000,001 projects. And I've never finished a single one. Well, that's not true. I finished this. But I always get these amazing ideas and then they sit and collect dust on my shelf for eternity. I start poems and screenplays and books and then they sit in my files forever. I feel horrible. They're my babies and I abandoned them. I'm reconnecting with myself, okay? This is how I do it. You don't have to do it like me. You don't gotta be like me. Everybody hates Curtis. That's the thing, alright? But I'm feeling so much better. Okay, I have rid myself of the morbs. Happiness is good. It comes, it goes. But without darkness, light is blinding. You gotta appreciate the bad times to love the good times. But don't wallow in them. Don't let yourself be consumed by the bad things. Consume yourself with the whimsy. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap your ears off for however long this went on for. I like to talk, and I think it's really cool having hypothetical people who like hearing me talk enough to sit and listen to me. And I hope you learned something today, because I definitely learned a lot of things doing research for this video. I think that's the most important thing we can do as people, is to further educate ourselves, you know, always, and to never be satisfied with where we're at. That is the best way to rid yourself of the morbs, alright? Is to just never be satisfied. That's the message I'm leaving with you today. My name is Curtis. I talk a lot. Thank you for watching my show.
That's funny.
Broke people should never laugh.